I know you would call me up, mate, but you were looking at me, so.
Anyone else wishing to speak, please step forward. Thank you,
Warren Wielgus, 292 West Clay Avenue. I'm here tonight again with Ms. Berkman, the same thing for the police department, which I had hoped I would not have had to become involved in. But it seems like, first of all, you cut the police department administrative force down by passing ordinance 2348, the table of organization. You only have a police chief and a lieutenant as an executive officer. You're not giving the police chief the way of means to run his department correctly. I heard that this was only a temporary table of organization. Well, if it was temporary, why didn't you just leave the other one in there? Because you are the ones that make the promotions. Also, you're down 3, you're losing 2 more is 5, and 2 retiring in the summer is 7. You're not going to have time to replace 7 officers, 25% of your force. You're not going to have the time. There's no alternate route program right now in any of the academies because I'm sure of the hiring from different towns. They're not hiring. I don't know where you're going to pull 20% of your force back. You're putting these officers in jeopardy. Speaking to Mr. Majira, what he said about summonses being issued, they don't have time to issue summonses. You haven't had a beat man probably on the beat in a year because they're running minimum standards out on the road. And that's not the fault of the chief unless you want to hire someone every day to work that beat. I mean, you're talking about losing close to $100,000 in revenue from summonses on a beat. You've already lost a $50,000 plus grant by not hiring. You know, there was a double homicide 6 blocks from Roselle Park just the other day. And in Roselle, they've had 3 homicides in the last month. You don't have a great wall of Roselle Park keeping people out. There's a lot of places they can walk right over into Roselle Park, and it's probably going to be coming. I am here to ask you to give the chief the power to run his department. There isn't one of you, except for Councilman Hokelson, that has any administrative experience running a police department. There's not one of you. So I don't know what reasoning you have and what you can think that you can cut back and give a man 1 administrative staff. You were in the Army. Suppose he had generals and lieutenants. Forget everything else in between. The majors, the captains, lieutenant colonels. What would you do? You were an Army man. You should know that. And you're a police officer, Mr. Miranda, so you should be fighting for this department to keep their manpower. You're giving up. I know that it's probably the 2nd largest revenue for the municipality is the police department summonses. Because I know when I was the chief, and that's 4 years ago, we did almost $450,000 in revenue to the borough. And I'm sure it's almost double that now. Well, it's not going to be double because you're going to find out that these officers aren't going to be able to do it because they're shorthanded. And then when you're also shorthanded, you're going to have new people that are leaving this department, and 2 newer guys are going to be leaving. You're going to be replacing them with a top-paid patrolman. So now you're paying the top-paid patrolman time and a half to work for a guy that's making half the salary that the top-paid patrolman is making. So where is your cost savings? You can't tell me this is a monetary thing. It isn't. I mean, you've had this police department has had 34 men for 30 years, 20 years, anyway, 20 years. And in all the years, I've never had a problem with hiring from any mayor that was on this thing or mayor and council that was up on this dais. Never had a problem. When someone left, we hired. You're letting this police department deplete, and these young guys are going to be leaving because you're not even leaving any advancement for anybody. You have no administrative officers, 1 lieutenant and the chief. Who's going to take care of the scheduling, the internal affairs, doing all the rules and regulations? We were trying to get accredited for the police department, but that takes an executive officer to work almost a year on that, which would save the borough money in insurance. Mayor and council, you can't rest on this thing because if you lose up to 7 men by this summer, the summer is the heaviest vacation schedule. And that's all done by contract, so there's nothing that the chief can do to pull back or anything. You're going to end up paying a ton of money in overtime. And I'm talking about a lot of money, a lot more than what he'll go way over budget. Way over. He'll be looking for you to raise the budget. And I know you're capped and your hands are tied as far as that. But you've got to have police protection. And myself as a resident now, never mind a police officer, I want to see the town be protected. So please get your heads out of the ground and start thinking about putting these guys on. You're tying his hands. I mean, we're already into March, the third month of the year. If he doesn't even have probably alternate route candidates to pick from. Now, what is he going to do? If he starts somebody in the academy, he has to run a test, start them in the academy in August. They're not going to be out until December. It probably takes another good 6 months for them to learn the ropes of the police department. You're losing these officers for a year. So please, give the chief back his ability to run his department. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. I don't even know where to begin. I can tell you...
You can begin, I'll write.
You can write it. What I can tell you is that based on the advice of counsel, I'm not going to comment on most of the issues that you brought up. You did, again, bring up the fact that I was in the Army. I can tell you that I've been in the position where there are positions that are not filled. I've been in the position where people are killed and they disappear, and you don't get refills for those positions for months sometimes. You continue with the mission. Our police chief and our police department has been continuing with the mission. When we made the change administratively, based on the ordinance that you mentioned, it was because we wanted to make sure that we were in a position to determine what the best manning was for our police department. We don't want somebody else to dictate what the best manning for the police department is. We're trying to do that in coordination with the public safety department and the police department. So hopefully, as negotiations continue, we'll get to the bottom of it and we can make some decisions later on.
But you can't keep going.
We can't have it back and forth.
One thing that I'm sure that you're aware of is we only receive a portion of the tax base to run the entire town. You can take someone like the Board of Ed, who receives about 54% of the tax base. They were saying they have a flat budget. However, they received $529,000 of state aid that they weren't counting on. Had they donated that back to the borough, we would have a decrease in taxes this year. So I don't know why the residents aren't going out to the Board of Ed meetings and asking for money that they can return to the town. We're giving this much money to try to run an entire borough. But yet if I go to a Board of Ed meeting, nobody's there. So we're stuck in a hard place too. And
the Board of Education's been here as long as the town. So
and every year our taxes go up because the decisions they make and nobody's there to complain.
The Board of Education gets their mony, the town gets
their money. They get their money because nobody pays attention.
It's nothing new though. It's
well,
not that
everyone
this
wants
year
the taxes to go
down.
Everyone wants the taxes to go down. But where are the ideas?
I'd rather have my taxes go up if I was
Chief Wielgus, please, we can't have...
There's many equations.
That's all. Thank you.